This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne with you today with 8 stories in the queue from yesterday. Stories you vetted as conversational that cover information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. Featuring today, Mayo. El Chapo's in that, plus Ozempic and Mick Jagger. The moves are in there for his birthday, plus other stories on the day. We'll explain how the vetting process works, how we pulled these stories for you to talk about, and much, much more. But you can first, just remember, first we'll get to the headlines. Let's do the stories first, but then we're going to get you into things by going to our website. This is theconversationproject.com. Not the most... Not the most a little wordy there, but the point gets across. You see where we do our things, where you can find us in various other places. And of course, you can email us all your comments, concerns, and complaints about me being too wordy today with the email address, theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Let's get into the headlines for today, which are technically headlines for yesterday. And today, of course, is Friday, July 26, 2024. Headline number 1, the continuation story of the Mexican cartels and drug dealings and authority and crime. Let's go to a good story where the good guys caught a bad guy. This headline for number 1 reads, U.S. authorities have arrested Mayo Zambada, a historic leader in Mexico's Sinaloa cartel. Sinaloa. I'm going to butcher these today, so bear with me. The U.S. federal authorities have arrested Ismael Mayo Zambada, a key leader in Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, along with Joaquin Guzman Lopez, who is the son of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Both were detained in El Paso, Texas, marking the significant blow to the Sinaloa cartel. Zambada, 76, has been a fugitive for decades, evading captivity while leading one of the most powerful drug trafficking organizations in the world. The arrests represent a major victory for law enforcement and their efforts to go against the cartel specifically, and this one particularly. That was not the right tense there. So you get the point, though. 2 big fish were caught in the drug cartels from Mexico. El Mayo, who was a big leader, of course, and of course, the son of El Chapo. And they will be prosecuted, arraigned, processed fairly quickly. Next story, number 2. Seems like it's a dream. Seems like it's a fake one. But not only is it real, it has problems. CrowdStrike offered up $10 Uber Eats gift cards to partners to apologize for the global IT outage. That's what they did. They offered to people as apology for breaking their computers for a few days, $10 on Uber Eats. Now, the outage caused issues to about 8.5 million people. Endpoints it's listed as 8.5 million things at the endpoint. And the gift cards were, of course, met with criticism because they said they were kind of cheesy. Oh, by the way, they got flagged for fraud. That's right. The company that runs runs an operation that deals with security for computers sent people gift cards that weren't secured for the computers they used them for, and they were unusable. So on top of the fact that they offered just $10 as a sort of a, we're sorry, here's $10 for lunch, they couldn't even buy lunch. We are what we are. Speaking of lunch and tasties, the next couple of stories are lunch and tasties. Story number 3 for this morning. Chicken wings advertised as boneless can have bones. Ohio Supreme Court decides. So you've heard me, if you've been around for a while, the whole boneless wings are not boneless wings, or not wings, because they come from, breast meat and other pieces that are kind of meshed together. So by definition, they ain't no wings because they ain't no bones. However, the Ohio Supreme Court has ruled that chicken wings that are advertised as boneless do not necessarily have to be bone-free. And this comes after a man filed a lawsuit against a company, a restaurant apparently, that was injured by a boneless wing that had a bone in it. The court sided with the lower courts, which had dismissed the suit before, but stating the term boneless wings refers to cooking style rather than a literal guarantee of the bones. Which is not. Boneless wings are not the cooking style. They are literally pieces of meat that don't come from places where bones are. Now, apparently this happened here. Maybe there was a issue in the processing, or something happened and got mixed into it, or get ripped up a piece or whatever. But boneless wings, for the record, I may not be the Ohio Superior Court. I may not be, a judge or anything like that, but boneless wings come from pieces of chicken that don't have bones. and they aren't wings. They can't fly. Story number 4 this morning, I should say. Ohio State Fair. We're sticking around with Ohio. The State Fair has their butter cow sculptures for the year, and they have a new Olympics theme. Now, if you're watching the video, you see a picture of a pole vaultist in butter going over the pole vault. The cows are there. The cows are always there, but there's always a theme of things going around nearby. And this year, we have various Olympic athletes in representation in iconic butter. This actual iconic ritual, let's call it a ritual because of what it is, dates back to 1903 with the butter sculpture, and this is a big deal for people last year running for president, as it had to go to Ohio to basically worship at the feet of the idol butter cow. This year, like I said, there is a cyclist, a gymnast on the balance beam. Also, like I said, there is the pole vaulter going over the pole there. Many authorizations, many various showing of elite athletes doing their stuff next to the cows. The American Dairy Association Mideast sponsors this exhibition, which aims to highlight the dedication and achievements of American athletes throughout the creativity and thematic display. And butter, cows, dairy, it's all connected. Okay, another bad company dealing with a lawsuit. This is Adobe executives who were compared the Creative Cloud cancellation fees to heroin. Now, that's a catchy headline. The story is really, really important. The Federal Trade Commission has filed a lawsuit against Adobe, alleging that the company's made it difficult for consumers to cancel their Creative Cloud subscriptions. I'm a person who can basically attend to that, as I have my personal subscriptions and I manage subscriptions for my company. According to the FTC's complaint, an Adobe executive likened the early termination fees to heroin, emphasizing the company's reliance on these fees as a significant revenue source. The complaints claim that Adobe did not adequately inform consumers about the cancellation fees associated with their subscription, leading to consumers' frustration and legal challenges. You sign up for a subscription that's a yearly subscription with monthly payments. You only pay every month, but you do have to live out that contract. You can't get out of it early because it's a yearly contract, as opposed to a yearly subscription that is paid up and you just kind of have to suck it up for the year. To terminate those contracts, you pay a fee for losing stuff. You don't just get prorated costs. You pay extra on the top. It's a big deal. It's an issue. Adobe is addressing it by making it worse. FTC is going to try to address it by making it worse for Adobe. We'll see how this plays out in court. The number 6 story, this is an interesting one. Texas woman gets 15 years for stealing nearly $109 million from Army to buy mansions and cars. Janet Yamanaka Mello, we'll say Mello going forward, a former U.S. Army civilian employee, has been sentenced to 15 years in prison for her involvement in a significant fraud case. Mello, who is 57 years old, was found guilty of embezzling nearly $109 million from a youth development grant program intended for children of military families. The funds were used to purchase luxury items such as mansions, cars, and clothing. She pleaded guilty to 5 counts of mail fraud and 5 counts of filing false tax returns in March, and the U.S. District Judge Xavier Rodriguez handed down the sentence, emphasizing the gravity of the betrayal and harm caused to the intended beneficiaries of the program, the children. Now, this is a thing. If you've seen the pictures of some jewelry she bought here, but $109 million from a program is a lot of money. And if no one really noticed, she was buying luxury cars and mansions, and the kids weren't getting stuff. I think an IG needs to investigate who's actually overseeing these programs. $109 million is a lot of money to embezzle, and to be that flashy with the money you're embezzling is a bit much. Let's move on to story number 7. This one is concerning. Headline for 7 reads, NASA says no return date yet for astronauts and troubled Boeing capsule at space station. So the NASA astronauts that were sent up there to stay at the station for a few weeks are going to be there for a bit longer. The NASA announced that there currently no set return date for the 2 astronauts at the International Space Station and returning in the Boeing Starliner capsule, which has issues. No one's quite told us what the issues are, but the issues are serious enough that they don't want to put humans in them to come back to the planet. The astronauts are named Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, and they were scheduled to stay at ISS for about a week, maybe a little longer. and return in mid-June. It is now almost August. Due to the ongoing technical issues with the Starliner capsule, they will remain on the ISS for a while. Despite the delay, NASA assures that the astronauts are not stranded. Seems like they are. Continue to be safe on the ISS while engineers work on necessary fixes. Here's the thing. There are so many extra supplies on the space station. They can stay there for 6 months in a go. So that's there on purpose. That happened to Mark Kelly, I believe, where he was supposed to stay for a time and ended up breaking the record because he ended up staying much longer than expected for time going forward. I believe it was Mark Kelly. It may have been his brother, but I think it was Mark Kelly. So the astronauts are not in the way. The astronauts are fully safe with, supplies and things going on. They just would probably rather be home since they should have been home weeks ago. That's essentially what we're looking at here. Our next headline, story number 8. New study shows most people taking GLP-1s like Ozempic are white women. Now, here's what the study is telling us. The study shows us, here are 5 key points that came from this study on demographics. Basically, number 1 is the demographics. Most users of GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic are white women, a pattern that persists along the ways of people getting the medication. People are using it in general, not so much just for the diabetes stuff, but because it's also weight loss, happen to be white women. The uses patterns shows that its marketing is not essentially following along lines of what's going on. It's marketing for weight loss and for diabetes management. So essentially, people who can afford it for the weight loss will overpay for it, making the cost for people with diabetes management, myself included, pay the extra cost. It's extremely expensive for diabetes management, which should be something simple, a very simple disease to manage. But this is a miracle drug in the case where it helps with what's going on, and the weight loss as a side effect is great, but the cost, because people use it for weight loss, is also great. There's health disparities, all the different things that happen into you. There's some side effects that can become issues and actually become serious issues to your health if you're not careful. And the diversity in the people who are taking it, i.e. the non-diversity, essentially mostly white women, shows that there's a lack of diversity in getting the medication, and also a lack of what side effects occur to people as well. Efficacy and risks, along with side effects, along with that is essentially how good is it? Does it actually work? Is it a good thing? Is it going to be effective for your managing diabetes? Will it help you with long-term weight loss? Spoiler alert, once you get off it, the weight comes back, and it's what's going forward. And of course, the big kicker is it costs a whole lot of money and insurance doesn't cover it like it should. And we'll see that change going forward as these things become either cheaper to make, or just they decide they're going to make more of it just to make more of it, and it becomes a flooded market with the issue. But right now, at the cost that it is, there really is no incentive to make it cheaper, because the people will pay the money for it to get the weight loss part. People with money will pay the money for it. People without money who need it for serious weight loss for things, or just diabetes management, something like that, like myself, pay a lot monthly for our Ozempic prescriptions. Let's go to our teaser story for this morning. This is a headline that we are going to see if it lasts a weekend. I think this one will. I think this one will get the attention going forward from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we'll probably talk about this one come Monday. Now, come Monday, I'll give you 8 stories, poorly read today. Apologies for that. 8 news stories for today. We'll give you 10 stories on Monday to cover 3 full days. We'll have about 30 stories a day. And so we'll take the top 30 stories of those 3 days and pick 10 of them to present to you. Normally it's 8 stories, top 15 of a day, so on and so forth. The headline that we teased for yesterday was CrowdStrike and their Uber Eats gift cards. We talked about that one. This time we'll see of Monday if we'll talk about champagne, specifically how champagne sales are down worldwide, and the industry is calling it because they're calling it a lack of cheer. Essentially, people aren't happy right now, so they're not popping bottles. Literally not popping bottles because there's not a lot of happy things to do. That is what they're saying. If you think this is an interesting story to go deeper into, we'll go into it. You just have to make it a conversational story. Go to our feeds on Facebook and X. Facebook.com/This is the Conversation Project and X.com/TH_conversation. We put a news story out there every 50 minutes on these feeds, so check them out and engage in the stories. And it's literally your vote counts. The more you engage in the story you see, the better it is. Go to our site and look at a couple stories for a few hours and see which ones you like. Check out what pops up in your feed and engage in those if you like them as well. The emoji face you like, share them, do what you need to do. The more engagement a story gets, literally, the more chance we have of talking about it in the next iteration. Right now, we're talking about Zenni Optical because I want to talk about them. They are our spotlight sponsor for the day, and they're very simple. They have a simple plan. Sell you glasses. Sell you good glasses. Sell you good glasses at very good costs, which are very, very low, extremely low. So low, you'll see them and you'll be like, wow, why have I not bought a spare pair of glasses already? Because you'll be compelled to. I bought the same frames for a long time because I like these simple, boring frames. I bought extended different types of lenses. I've had transitions for a while. These are just tinted lenses right here. I have a similar pair that look like these that are sunglasses, full tint. I have a similar pair that look a lot like these that are sports glasses. They're just a little bit sturdy. And they take care of me, my family, and our glasses needs. And they are extremely inexpensive. It's simple. They have great customer service as well, and you don't have to pay money to send stuff back. You pay money for what you want. If you don't want it, if it's not good, then just send it back. It's that simple. Check out Zenni Optical at our website and use our link for our affiliate link because we get a small commission for your use. This is theconversationproject.com/Zenni. This is theconversationproject.com/ZENNI. Zenni Optical will take care of your eyes and take care of your wallet at the same time and take care of us with a small commission going forward. So check them out using our affiliate link for Zenni Optical. The Conversation Project lives online at this is conversationproject.line. This is conversationproject.line. This is conversationproject.com. Thank you so much for being with us for this very poor showing on a Friday. It's been a long week and it's going to be a long day. So to go along with that one, if you want to see us improve, this is a great time for me to tell you about our partnership program. We provide for you this newscast, various places to conversate, to talk about news articles, things that get lost in the wash. Since the debate, essentially, all we talk about is Joe Biden being an old man and Donald Trump getting shot, and then Kamala Harris taking over for the old man and fighting with the guy that got shot. Basically, everything is that. Olympics start today, so they'll overtake things going forward. And Inside Out 2 is a big deal. But other than that, it's hard to get a news story out there, and we do our best to do that with you by going through news articles all day, all night, all the time, putting them out there on our feeds so you can engage in them and seeing what stories are most engaging, giving you a wrap up in the morning here on these things right here. If you think we're doing a pretty good job, consider being a partner, going to the partnership page at the website, find a tier or a one-time donation slot that's good for you. You become a part of the board of directors, one of our real partners, to make things work around here. Other than that, follow us in the feeds, which is absolutely free. That's where most of the work is done, actually. You follow in the feeds and engage in the stories. That helps us know what stories to talk about. You can email us directly at theconversationinbox@gmail.com and tell me what I can do to improve without costing you a dime. You can go to the website and you can see where we're located on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, and our newsletter form, our podcast and audio form. Find out the right format for you for the Conversation Project's offerings by going to our website. This is theconversationproject.com. We've got the work done. We've did the promotion stuff, and now it's time to have some fun. It is time for things you might ought to know for this day, Friday, July 26, 2024. And yes, if you're watching the video and you see the picture, that happy smiling face is the main focus of our fun stuff because today is the birthday for Mick Jagger. So go ahead and put it in your mind. Here's your earworm for the day. It's room 5. It's Moves Like Jagger. He's 81 years old on the day. So do little duck faces and do little arm waving dances to celebrate the man that is Mick Jagger. Also big birthdays for Sandra Bullock, turned a big 60 today. And Jeremy Piven, also with a birthday. He hits 59 on this 26th of July. Going to our history lesson, going back in the day. On this day in 1984, Tonight Show with Johnny Carson became the first network television program to be telecast in stereo. Now, that may not seem like a big deal to you, but over the time of history of broadcasting, stereo was a big deal back in the day for getting broadcast on TV. And being the Johnny Carson show, iconic milestone on this day. You want something a little bigger? How about 1991 where Pee Wee Herman, that's Paul Rubens, as he's actually legal name, arrested in Sarasota, Florida in a theater for, of course, exposing himself. We're going to let the Pee Wee jokes make themselves there. Just say them in your head. Just like you're singing Moves Like Jagger, you can do the Pee Wee jokes in your head. for yourself. In 2006, a jury in Houston found Andrea Yates not guilty by reason of insanity in the drowning of her children in a bathtub. In the second trial she faced on the charges, she was committed to a state mental hospital. I don't know the situation of Andrea Yates. That is literally 20 years ago. And so she has not popped up in anything recently. I'm sure someone has done some true crime work on this one and knows exactly where she is, or someone will do something now that I brought it up, I guess. But this was a very serious case that people were following. People were glued to their televisions. You know, you had to actually watch TV back then to see what's going on, to follow this case. And this is something that I know a news person in my newsroom followed it very closely because she was a serious advocate for children. This is something she followed immensely. This was a really big deal, and it happened today, being found not guilty by insanity, 2006. We learned some history. Let's learn a new word to go for today. Today's word is unimpeachable. Simple word that means above reproach. The word used in a sentence, here's an example. Her integrity is unimpeachable, standing at the pillar of truth in a sea of deceit. That one, the robot editor got a little too dramatic, I believe, in this one, but you get the point. Unimpeachable means someone who is above reproach, someone you cannot shake, someone you can't get to do something dirty, someone who's going to be on top of things regardless of what is out there. Unimpeachable, someone who lives up to standards and sometimes sets standards that we should live up to and forces you to as well. More people should be unimpeachable. Unfortunately, more people are not. Today's daily affirmation: I forgive myself and learn from my mistakes. Today's affirmation promotes healing and recovery by affirming self-forgiveness. It facilitates emotional healing, allowing you to move past guilt and shame associated with mistakes, and contributes to maintaining the sobriety and recovery from addiction by breaking the cycle of negative self-perception. There you go. I forgive myself and learn from my mistakes. If you're looking for ways to push past something, this might be a great affirmation for you. If not, try another affirmation I have a book of 100 of them, and you can use them any way you want to and remix them as you need to. Check out the book, 100 Daily Affirmations for Positivity and Confidence. That is at Amazon.com, written by me, J. Cleveland Payne. Now, let's go to our celebration today. We're going to stay tasty, mostly tasty today. Today is Coffee Milkshake Day, and I always celebrate this one over to other things because I like coffee milkshakes. A milkshake is great, but add a little bit of coffee, some espresso to perk it up, and it goes perfect. Add a little bit of chocolate, and this comes in mocha as well. Awesome. The Jamocha chocolate shake at the Arby's, if their shake machine is working, is always a great treat. But various other places, including, although a Frappuccino is not actually a milkshake, things like that, milkshakes with a little bit of coffee added to it, make things a grand thing. We may pull up the mini blender and grab some milk and grab some old coffee, because I drink old coffee, and see what happens here at the house today. Meanwhile, if you want to see something tasty, try Bagel Fest. Today is also Bagel Fest Day. Something not so tasty, but apparently good for you, World Tofu Day. Celebrate that today as well. We are done. We've given you things you might not have heard. We told you some things you might ought to know, and we're going to wrap up for this Friday, July 26, 2024. A little slow off the blocks today. It took a while to get into gear, and unfortunately it didn't get until we got to the fun stuff, and the new stuff kind of got squashed. I apologize. We'll work on that, and this is a very apt comparison with the Olympics Games. Technically started 3 days ago with soccer and I guess some basketball, but starting officially with the opening, if fingers crossed all goes well. They're having issues with weather and some issues with the trains, serious issues, security issues. We'll see how the opening ceremony goes tonight, and we'll probably post some things and talk about it. Maybe, if you call it conversational, come Monday. I want to take a quick stop to talk about our sponsors, our partners that we have right now. Shout outs to them. We have on the screen shout outs to Harold Braxton, Colby Green, and Eldon Kidd. Sorry, Harold, I'm butchering names again. And a spare change entry for Joy Winters. Cup of coffee is a $5 a month subscription, and spare change is literally just $1 a month. And you won't understand how that $16 a month means to us, how much that little bit means to us going forward, until you see what happens behind the scenes. If you want to help out going forward, there are even bigger tiers to help get bigger things done. You can check them out at our website, thisisconversationproject.com/partnerships, and see if something's there. We also have one-time hits for donations, places like Vimeo and Cash App, things like that. If you something like that's there, we'll give you a shout out as well for a one-time donation. But these are our monthly partners that are in the deal for us long term. We thank you and thank them specifically, and thank you for consideration in the partnership program. Life is great, even when your life doesn't seem so great at the moment. So remember that. Keep that in the back of your mind all the time. And consider being a partner. Consider checking out our sponsors. Make sure you're following our feeds and engaging in the stories so you know what to talk about. Consider being with us come Monday. Now, we've been, if you're a partner, we've been kind of having some issues kind of doing the weekend stuff and trying to figure out what to do for a weekend shebangs. We want to put some things out for the weekend to get the clicks and the hits, but the weekly wrap up just hadn't been quite wrapping things up as well. Plus some behind the scenes with our stats systems in the X and the Facebook. So we may discontinue that and to go to something that's just sort of a randomish thing. Some of the, just literally things I'm picking from the week. We'll see what happens going forward. We'll play around with that this weekend. A lot of other big real life, real word things happen this weekend. So we'll give that. So I'll take any prayers you want to. And if you're a partner, you will get an update on why things are going in the way they are and why we'll take any prayers going forward. If not, email me and we'll talk about it, or become a partner and you'll get it for free, whether you want to or not, as a part of your subscription and being a part of what's going on. Love you guys. Mean it so much. We will see you come Monday with another edition and 10 stories from the weekend on things you might not have heard.